There is a match that football has been dreaming about since December 18th, 2022, a match that ended in the most extraordinary fashion the sport has ever produced, and now, 3.5 years later, the same tournament is alive again, the same stakes, almost the same men, almost. I am not going to tell you everything right away, because what is about to happen at the 2026 FIFA World Cup in Atlanta on Wednesday, July 15th, is one of the most historically loaded football matches in the history of this sport. And to understand exactly why, you need to understand what these two nations and these two men have been carrying since that night in Lusail. Welcome to Memory of the Pitch. Let's get started. December 18th, 2022, Lusail Stadium, Qatar, the FIFA World Cup final, Argentina versus France. It is not an exaggeration to say that what happened in that stadium on that night was the greatest single football match in the history of the sport. Not the greatest final, the greatest match, period. Argentina were leading 2-0. Mbappé scored twice in 97 seconds to make it 2-2, extra time. Messi scored. Mbappé scored from the penalty spot to make it 3-3. Penalties. Argentina won. Messi lifted the trophy. The greatest player in history finally had his World Cup. That final did not end the debate. If anything, it deepened it. Because Mbappé had scored a hat-trick in the second half in extra time of a World Cup final at 23 years old, and still finished on the losing side. The final score was Argentina 4, France 2 on penalties, but nobody who watched it felt that one team had simply been better than the other. Two men had been extraordinary in the same match at the same time, and only one of them got to lift the trophy. That is the unresolved question that football has been carrying for 3.5 years, and on Wednesday in Atlanta it gets another chapter. And now here we are. Messi is 39. He has scored 8 goals at this tournament, the same number as Mbappé, who leads the Golden Boot on assists. He has 21 career World Cup goals, the all-time record. He has broken records that nobody thought were breakable. He has carried Argentina through 5 knockout matches, 3 of which required dramatic comeback wins in the final minutes. And on Wednesday he faces England, a nation that, in its entire history, Messi has never played against in a competitive match, not once. Not in a World Cup, not in a Copa America, never. I want to stop here and ask you a question before I go any further. Messi has never played England in a competitive match. In 39 years and hundreds of international appearances across 6 World Cups and countless qualification campaigns, these two nations have simply never met at a major tournament. Not once in history. Wednesday is the first time. So tell me in the comments, how do you think that match ends? Not who you want to win. How do you actually think it ends? Drop your answer now. I will be reading everything. Let me tell you about England, because if you are going to understand what this semi-final means, you need to understand what England have built under Thomas Tuchel and what Jude Bellingham has become at this tournament. England have not won the World Cup since 1966, 60 years. 2 generations of supporters have lived and died without seeing it. 3 World Cup semi-finals, 1990, 2018, and now 2026, and each time the trophy has stayed out of reach. This time feels different. And the reason it feels different has a name. It is 23 years old, and it plays for Real Madrid. Jude Bellingham, 23 years old. He scored twice against Mexico in the round of 16 in one of England's greatest ever away performances, the first time England had beaten Mexico at the Azteca in one of the most historic stadiums in world football. He scored twice against Norway in the quarterfinal, the winner coming in extra time, a rebound from a spilled shot that he was first to react to in the 3rd minute of extra time. He is the first player to score 2 or more goals in consecutive World Cup knockout stage matches at the same tournament since Diego Maradona in 1986. He now has 6 goals at this World Cup. He is 23 years old, and on Wednesday he faces Lionel Messi. Harry Kane has 6 goals at this tournament as well. He passed Gary Lineker to become England's all-time World Cup scorer earlier in this competition. He has scored in 4 of England's 6 matches. Kane is 32 years old, playing in his 3rd and likely final World Cup. And while England's system is built around the combination of Bellingham's driving runs from midfield and Kane's penalty area intelligence, it is Bellingham who has been the defining figure. Tuchel himself, after the Norway quarterfinal, said he was not happy with the performance while simultaneously calling Bellingham's individual display world-class and absolute top-class. England win because Bellingham finds a way to win them. That is the pattern of this tournament. Now let me tell you about Argentina's road to this semi-final, because it has been, by any reasonable measure, the most dramatic series of knockout performances in the history of World Cup defending champions. In the round of 32, they were 2-1 down against Cape Verde in extra time before an own goal saved them. In the round of 16, they were 2-0 down against Egypt with 15 minutes remaining, the first team in World Cup history to come back from that position to win in regulation, before Messi assisted and scored in the final 11 minutes. In the quarterfinals, Switzerland made it 1-1 in the 67th minute and held out until the 112th, before Julian Alvarez scored one of the goals of the tournament, a curler from 25 yards into the top corner, and Lautaro Martinez sealed it in the 121st. What makes Argentina's run so extraordinary is not just that they have come from behind in every knockout match, it is that they have come from behind with Messi as the instrument of the comeback every single time. Against Egypt, it was Messi's assist in the 79th minute and Messi's goal in the 83rd that changed the match. Against Cape Verde, it was Messi's corner in extra time that led to the own goal. Against Switzerland, it was Messi's constant creativity, 9 touches in the attacking penalty area, the most of any player in the match, that kept Argentina's pressure alive through 120 minutes. He does not just perform at this World Cup, he decides things. Lautaro Martinez has been the perfect support act throughout this run. Julian Alvarez, whose extra-time curler against Switzerland was one of the most technically perfect goals of the tournament, gives Argentina a second attacker of genuine world class. Alexis McAllister and Enzo Fernandez have given the midfield a structure and control that allows Messi to operate freely rather than having to carry every defensive burden. This is not a team of Messi plus 10 passengers. This is a genuine team with genuine depth who have needed every ounce of it in every knockout match. They are battered, they are tired, they have played 120 minutes in 2 of their 3 knockout matches, and they are still here. Here is a question I genuinely do not know the answer to. Argentina have come from behind in every single knockout match at this World Cup, every single one. If England score first on Wednesday, do Argentina have enough left in the tank to come back again? After 2 games of extra time, after 6 weeks of a World Cup, after everything Messi's body has been asked to produce at 39, can they do it a 4th time? Tell me in the comments, because I think the answer to that question decides the match. I need to talk about what this match means for the GOAT. Because this semifinal is not just England versus Argentina, it is not versus Messi. It is the next chapter in the argument that football has been having since 2009, and the argument has been unfolding at this World Cup has been extraordinary. Messi has 8 goals, Mbappe has 8 goals, 3 assists, currently leading the Golden Boot tiebreaker. Argentina are in, France are in the semifinal, and the possibility exists right now, today, in a tournament that is still being played, that Messi wins the World Cup for the 2nd time at 9, while Mbappe lifts the Golden Boot, or vice versa, or neither. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Messi has never won the Golden Boot at a World Cup. He has come second to Thomas Muller in 2014 on assists, and to Mbappe in 2022 when Mbappe's hat-trick in the final put him 1 goal ahead. If Mbappe wins the Golden Boot again at this tournament, in the same edition where Messi also has 8 goals, it will be the first time in history any player has won back-to-back Golden Boots. And it will mean that in Messi's final World Cup, the player who everyone agrees is the greatest of his generation could not even be the tournament's top scorer. That narrative, if it plays out, will be used by one side of the debate for years. But Messi has the World Cup. That is what he has. That is what Mbappe does not have. And every additional goal Messi scores at this tournament, every assist, every moment of genius at 39 years old, adds weight to an argument that was already almost unanswerable. The question the GOAT debate cannot resolve is this: how do you weigh trophies against statistics? How do you weigh World Cup victories against Golden Boots? How do you weigh peak performance against sustained excellence across 20 years? And how do you weigh what a player does at 27, Mbappe's current age, against what he might become? These are not questions with clean answers. They are questions football will be arguing about forever, and Wednesday's semifinal is the next installment. Let me be specific about what is at stake on Wednesday. If Argentina win, Messi reaches the World Cup final at 39 years old as the defending champion. trying to win back-to-back World Cups for the first time since Brazil in 1958 and 1962. No other player in history has done that. No other player has even been in a position to try it at 39 years old. If England win, they reach their first World Cup final since 1966, the longest drought of any major football nation, with Jude Bellingham as the defining figure of their tournament. In both scenarios, what happens in Atlanta on Wednesday will be one of the great nights in the history of this sport. The history between England and Argentina in the World Cup has been unlike any other rivalry in the tournament's history. They have met 5 times. England won in 1966 on home soil. Argentina won in 1986, the Maradona match, the hand of God, the goal of the century, the quarterfinal that still lives in the memory of everyone who saw it. Argentina won in 1998, the match of Beckham's red card and Michael Owen's solo goal in the penalty shootout that broke England's heart in Saint-Étienne. England won on penalties in 2002, and then they did not meet again for 24 years, until Wednesday. So I want to end with the question that has been running through this entire video, and I want your honest answer, not your heart, your head. This is Messi's last World Cup. If Argentina win on Wednesday and reach the final, and Messi wins the World Cup for the second time at 39 years old, does that settle the GOAT debate forever? Or does Mbappe's career still have enough ahead of it to eventually surpass what Messi has built? 2 answers, 1 comment. Because in 20 years, when people look back at this tournament, this week will be the moment they point to, and I want to know what you think right now while it is happening. Wednesday, July 15th, Atlanta, England versus Argentina, Bellingham versus Messi. 60 years of hurt against the greatest career in the history of this sport. I do not know what happens. Nobody does. That is what makes it the most anticipated football match in years. Subscribe to Memory of the Pitch. We will see you for every moment of what comes next.